think there are too many movie reviews out there for this film, but the one I did see stated that it's kind of like a Happy Madison film just done right. And I would have to say that, yeah, I pretty much agree with that statement. Now, How to Be a Latin Lover almost went completely under the radar for me. It almost was another movie that I had no idea was coming to our movie theater or even existed. This probably could have gone the same way as Spark a Space Tale, where a movie comes out in our theater, in our hometown, or my hometown, and I had never heard anything about it. The only reason that I knew about this film is that I actually saw a trailer for it. And it wasn't a movie trailer before any of the movies I went to this year. No, 2 of our movie theaters has something that's kind of like a movie poster. It's, a video. It's like a tall television screen that's in the shape of a poster, and half of the screen is the poster of a movie, while the other half of the screen shows a trailer of that film. And back when I went to see Ghost in the Shell, I had to wait before I was able to get seated because I got there way too early. So I sat on a bench next to the movie poster, or the television screen, and suddenly How to Be a Latin Lover trailer comes on, and I'm like, I had never heard of this film. Doesn't look like a film I would like, but most likely we would get it because it actually was shown at our theater for this movie poster, this video trailer poster screen thing. But I'm getting off track. What is How to Be a Latin Lover? What is it about? Well, let's listen to the plot and tell me if this sounds like a film that most likely would be produced by Happy Madison Productions. Well, our film starts with a Latin family, and their father is a truck driver. He drives all night and all day, and unfortunately he works too hard. I mean, his motto in life is, you get what you work for, but unfortunately, he dies in a terrible accident. A comical yet terrible accident that destroys their home, and he explodes in the truck. Yeah, that's the beginning scene for you. Well, the 2 kids of this family, the sister, she wants to be an architect. She wants to make a new house for them, the family. While the older brother, Maximo, sees what happened to his father, sees what came of working hard all his life only to die, and he's like, alright, I'm going to take the easy route. Sees a magazine of a very old rich dude and a very young wife, and says, I'm going to be like that person in the magazine. The sister's like, do you think this man took the easy route to get all that money? He obviously worked hard for that. Maximo goes, no, I'm not going to be him. I want her job. And so ultimately, Maximo becomes a trophy husband to a old, white, rich woman. Widow. Things are going fine. Maximo is spoiled, rotten, doesn't know how to live a real normal life because he's been spoiled by this rich girl, took the easy route all his life. Well, suddenly he gets kicked out and now has to live in the real world. And so now he has to live with his sister and his nephew while he tries to find another rich white woman to marry. Now, obviously, I didn't go into this movie with any high hopes, but honestly, I found it pretty damn enjoyable. For one, I liked all the acting in this movie, especially the cameos that happen throughout the film. Eugenio Derbez is Maximo. He's the main character of this film, and I have to say, I really liked his performance. He turned a very unlikable character into a very charismatic and very likable person that I adored. He's one of those unlikable characters that you can eventually like. That's what he was to me. Now, Selma Hayek plays the sister. I think she was good, and I think the 2 of them work well together. They were a good brother-sister duo. And there was a lot of good cameos, I feel. Rob Lowe is Maximo's best friend, and he's also a trophy husband, and so he's given Maximo advice throughout the movie. I also like the little twist that happens with the two of them. Kristen Bell is in it as well, and she kind of is the crazy cat lady in this film, which throws off all these cat puns that actually work given from Kristen Bell. She also works at a froyo shop, whatever they're called. Rob Corddry is actually good too. I don't normally like him that much in movies, but he was really good in this film. There was a lot of different cameos, and I liked a lot of them. And the movie did have charm to it. It did have heart, and there are moments in the film where it does get fairly dramatic as well as funny, and things that actually work and make it heartfelt and make it feel genuine. Not only did I like the chemistry with Maximo and his sister Sarah, who's, like I said, is played by Selma Hayek, I also like the chemistry between Maximo and the nephew as he's trying to teach him to pretty much seduce a girl in the nephew's class. Because it turns out that the nephew has a crush on a girl in his class, well, the grandmother of that girl is a rich widow that Maximo hopes to seduce and get to know.
Wait.
Friend of yours?
She doesn't even know I exist.
Who is she?
Oh, that's Arden's grandmother.
She's perfect.
It's his next way in, and so he kind of uses the nephew, but there's some heart to it, there's some charm, and you get a real sense that there is a bond between them that develops through the movie.
I can teach you how to use your skills of seduction to get what you want. Feel your sexiness, because you know what all the ladies are thinking.
What are the ladies thinking?
You must be great in bed.
I'm great in bed.
What?
I don't pee or anything anymore.
And of course, you know how that kind of plot will play out. It does play out just as you expect. But then again, there are moments in this film where it does get sentimental, and it does it in a very good way that doesn't feel forced, it doesn't feel out of place, and also doesn't feel undeveloped. It feels developed. So I did come out of this movie surprised that it did feel like there was meaning to it. It did feel like, wow, I could get a little bit out of this movie. Still, it's not an amazing film, but I could say, hey, it was a good time. Also, lessons are learned in this movie, and it doesn't take the easy route every time. Maximo's character does learn a lesson about life, does learn a lesson about family, and there are times where it feels like the film's going to take the easy route, but decides, hey, we're going to do something a little bit more realistic. Such as when Maximo gives all this advice to his nephew on how to seduce this girl in the classroom. Well, they're very young kids. And so, of course, Maximo's advice normally wouldn't actually work on a kid. It makes sense. Now, in any other movie, it probably would have the nephew be successful in getting the girl's attention, and then they'll be a couple, a little young kid couple. But this film doesn't do that. Maximo's advice goes horribly wrong, and the kid just starts over and tries to be more himself, and just him being himself wins the heart of the lady. A lesser film wouldn't do that.
Oh, Hugo. Did you hurt your leg? No, baby. I was just walking.
My nephew is quite fond of your granddaughter.
Really? Oh.
Do I have something on my face? Yes. You have my full attention. Okay.
It's enchanting to meet you.
Maximo.
Maximo.
Hey, baby. What do you say we, leave this place? What do you mean? It's my birthday party.
Drinks?
Allow me, please.
Excuse me.
The lady and I will have your finest champagne.
She'll have a Sprite, and I'll have a Coke.
Something as refreshing and exciting as she is.
Of course.
Actually, I'll just have some water. Thanks. Women. They never know what they want.
And there are more things throughout the movie that are like that. And there are more things where things that you think are just really random throwaway jokes actually make an impact by the end of the film. Such as this throwaway joke where Maximo never knows what time of the day it is. Well, not what time of the day. He never knows what day of the week it is. And so that comes into play when he tries to have his moment of redemption, but becomes too late because he's on the wrong day. He thinks it's the wrong day. And I have to say, I did find the film pretty funny. Not only was it charming and sweet, but it had moments where I did laugh a lot during this film, more so than Going in Style. Not to say Going in Style is bad, I did like Going in Style, but that's the only other comedy that I liked this year, so I have to compare it to that. Now, the jokes in How to Be a Latin Lover are something you'd expect, like I said, out of a Happy Madison production. There's a lot of slapstick, there's a lot of lowbrow, there's a lot of very immature jokes. The main character feels a little bit like a man-child. But there definitely are some really good visual gags, and there are moments when I just laughed at Maximo being such a spoiled brat in this movie. Especially towards the beginning of the film, where he's used to this rich lifestyle. He doesn't even walk around anywhere, and he lets his servants do all the work of all this terrible stuff, and I don't know, I thought it was darkly comedic. And so there was a lot of jokes in this movie that did fall flat, and there's a lot of jokes that normally would fall flat in other movies, but it does it in a way that felt satisfying in How to Be a Latin Lover. So just know going in, if you decide to see How to Be a Latin Lover, if it's even playing in any of your movie theaters, just know that there is a lot of immature jokes. There's a lot of jokes that you would expect in a Happy Madison production, and some of those jokes are definitely the worst of the movie, but some of those jokes actually work in the film and have some depth, which is surprising. And so I definitely found myself laughing a lot, but it might be a lot of crap to get through depending on your taste in comedy. And I also have to warn some people, because there are people that don't want to see foreign films, that don't want to see subtitles. This isn't a completely foreign film. This isn't a film where it's all subtitles that you have to read. But there is a lot of subtitles, especially when Maximo and Sarah, which, like I said, is Selma Hayek's character, especially when those two talk together alone. Normally they're talking in Spanish, and so it's in subtitles. I wouldn't say half of the film is subtitles, but a good chunk of it is. Probably about a quarter of it, maybe a little less, and it's almost 2 hours long. I'm not the fastest reader, but I'm not the slowest reader. I'm about medium. And I will say that there are times when the subtitles went by so fast that I didn't read it all. But I did always get the gist of what was going on, of course. I mean, it's not that hard of a movie to follow. I also do feel that the movie could have been a little shorter. It seems like there was some scenes, some jokes that were just random and just thrown in there to add a little bit more to the film. It's kind of like filler. So there was a few unnecessary scenes, I feel. But judging from the credits and the bloopers at the end of the film, it does look like there was more scenes cut out and scenes that were even more unnecessary than the scenes that are actually in the movie. So overall, not a great film. It's better than I expect, but at the same time, it's just a film that I simply liked. It isn't a film that I would say, go out to the movie theater, see it right now. And I'd have to give How to Be a Latin Lover 3 stars. Didn't expect to like it. I liked it. So, have you seen How to Be a Latin Lover? What'd you think about it? Go ahead and comment below. And if you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie reviews of 2015, 2016, or 2017. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and this was just my opinion.